Okay, I've had the watch a couple of days now, and so I thought I'd put up a quick video of the watch, of the UX, of how it seems to work, and just give you an overview of the whole Apple Watch experience. So you can see I've got the Apple Watch here. I've actually taken it off just to give you a good view of the watch itself. I got the 42mm with the classic buckle, and I'd read some reviews that the buckle wasn't very nice. It didn't feel very leather-like. It wasn't as premium as they thought that it would be. But to be frank, I think the strap's very nice. It feels very nice on. It does feel a little bit plasticky, but you can smell that it's leather. And I think that's just really down to how the Apple guys have had the tannery that makes the strap and really got it down to a very fine process compared to standard ones. And it's a very Apple leather strap, let's be honest. But it's very nice. The clasp very nice. It's very comfortable on. I've got fairly big wrists, and it fits me quite nicely. And you can see the grain on there and the quality of the strap. If you bought it separately, I think it's about £130, and it comes with this watch. You can see the default face that I've got at the moment, and I'll show you some more of the faces later. You can see the little blue icon at the top, which is it's like the notifications area, and that's telling you that the watch is locked. And the reason it's locked is because it's not on my wrist, and you can see that when it's not on your wrist it asks for a passcode, but we'll skip that for the moment. On this side of the watch, this is the stainless steel version, so you can really tell the stainless ones quite easily because they're the ones with the black inside the crown. You've got the crown and the button. I think it's just called the button. It only does one or two things actually, so it doesn't really need much of a name. You can see the quality of the case. Again, this is the stainless steel one. On the other side you have the microphone here and the speaker here. I've had a couple of calls on there. Seems to work quite well, to be honest. It's not groundbreaking. It's not the same as talking on your phone, but it does the job. It does what it's meant to do. On the back you can see the heart rate sensors, and then you can also see the wording on there for the watch. It's the Apple Watch 42mm case, stainless steel. You can see the two button marks here, which is where you remove the case. You just push those in, and not the case, but the strap, and the strap just slides out. Very nice feel, very premium on. This is it's a sapphire crystal back and a sapphire crystal front. You can see it's asking for the passcode again, and works really well. So that's what the watch looks like. I think you can see it's a very nice, and the quality of the face. I saw some reviews that said the face image was very poor, it's very bad. I don't know what they're talking about. This is a beautiful image. All the images look very good on the watch. You know, exactly what you would expect. So I don't know what those reviews are talking about. I've also seen a lot of reviews complaining about scratches on the case. Well, it's a watch and it's a stainless steel case. You're going to get scratches on it. I've got Rolexes, I've got Omegas, I've got IWCs, very similar cases, and they've all got scratches on them. That's just life. Live with it. A lot of people rubbing them out, and I've seen a few Scratchgate palavers. Just ignore them. Doesn't mean anything. I'm going to put it on quickly just to show you something as I talk about it. The strap's reasonably easy to put on, same as any strap. You don't have to wear it super tight, but you need to wear it tight enough so that the sensors are sitting on the back of your hand, so that they feel your pulse, which is quite important. But again, I haven't got it on super tight, and it seems to work just fine. Still got the lock logo on, so I'm just going to pull it back a touch while I unlock it. And there we go. So there we have the watch face. So what I wanted to quickly show with the watch on was the sort of the movement of showing the face, which is this, which works, I would say, 7 times out of 10. And it's not that it doesn't work the other 3 times. It's just that you're not making quite such an obvious movement with your arm like that. You might be sat like this and you move your arm to have a look up, or you might move it in a slightly different direction to look at the face, and it just doesn't light up at all. And in which case you have to either make an exaggerated movement with your arm, or when it goes out is press the crown, and that will bring up the face. So that's just a little gripe. It's not, you know, some people have said about the speed. I haven't got an issue with the speed. It shows up fairly quickly, as you can see. For me, the main issue is around having that exaggerated movement It's got to be that precise movement. I presume you might get used to it eventually. So I'm going to pop the watch off again to show you some of the other features. You will see that it locks immediately, so let me just take it away and unlock it. You can set a separate passcode to your iPhone, it's not an issue. So I've unlocked it now. So essentially you've got two main things from this face. You have the glances, which are up from the bottom, and then sliding from the top you've got the notifications. So let's look at the glances first. So the glances. You can set the glances yourself from a list of glances that you can put on there. You set those through the iPhone, not through the watch. This is the sort of home screen for your glances where you can set your airplane mode, your do not disturb, and your mute mode. And then also there's a handy little feature there which allows you to find your phone, which you can pop there. You can swipe through the glances. You can set these glances to be whatever order you want them to be. So you can see I've got a meeting request in for tomorrow, and that pops up. If there was any others, it would show. You can see my heart rate, and I'll talk about that in a second. Obviously it's not working because it's locked again. Just pull it back. It's a little bit awkward off the wrist. You've got the power. On the power, I've not had any specific issues, to be honest. I mean, last night I got to about 40% remaining. First day was only half a day. It's now nearly lunchtime in the UK and still got 90%. I'm not sitting on it all the time because it's a watch. So I think the power's working just fine. You've got there, you can see the power reserve button, which allows you to, I'll tell you what, let me put it on the wrist. Then it will stop locking all the time. Let me unlock it one final time. Okay, so as you go up, you've got the power reserve. You have your exercise indicator. So the outside is how much you're moving. The middle one is how much you've exercised in that day, and the middle one is your middle one. But the inner ring is how many times you've stood, and so it works quite well actually. I mean, I used it yesterday. I met all the targets because I was out and about. Today it's a Sunday, a little bit more sedentary. You can see that from how that looks. Here's the weather, okay, and you can see the weather from where I live, and then you can go into it later. I'll show you how to do that. This is location, and here we have the time. This is your set country, and then you can see the zone there about where you are in the world, which is the red dot, and how it's looking for the day and night zones. So very handy. A couple of issues with this from my perspective. One is it always stays at where you are. So if you were there, okay, and you went back to the watch face, when you go back to glances, you always go back to that one screen. Personally, I would prefer to go back to here. So I'm always back at the one I'm going to use the most, to be honest. If I've had a look at my power reserve, and then I go back to the watch face, I really just want to go back to the home area. So that isn't settable in the OS. It's not settable on the phone or on your iPhone. I think that's a bit of a shame, as you always end up scrolling backwards and forwards to either where you want to go or back to here, which is the one that you'll probably use the most because it's sort of the home location. And you can also see, by the way, at the top there, it's connected to the phone, and if you lose phone connection, that will go red. From there's the notifications. You can see I've got no notifications. Minor gripe with this one is the font for no notifications is not the same as the font for connected, which I find a bit odd. Maybe the font's the same, but the size is different. And really, I think there needs to be a little bit of alignment there between the two different modes. Maybe it's different teams that create them. I don't quite know there. So from here, you can actually do a couple of things. So from here, you can actually, this is an interesting one. You can double press the buttons, and it'll take a screenshot of whatever screen you're in at the minute, and you get a little vibration. I'll talk about the vibrations in a minute. So you get a screenshot, which actually saves both to your watch and your phone at the same time. You can press the button, which gives you your people. Okay, as you can see, I can scroll through the list, and you can set that list yourself. From here, you can you can either text the person or you can phone the person. If that person has an Apple Watch, there's another icon in the middle here, which will actually allow you to then draw a picture and send them. I don't actually know anybody's got an Apple Watch yet, so that's the sort of that menu there where you can do this. You can go back to the watch screen and then press it again, and this takes you to the home screen with all of the icons you can move around. Some people aren't happy with this moving around of the icons. They say that they can't touch the right one, that they prefer it to be in different ways. You can go into the app on the phone and set them up to be more vertical and less wiggly around like that. Personally, I haven't had an issue with them, and I actually haven't any issues with touching them. You know, if I want to go into the settings app, I just touch it and I'm in the settings app. It hasn't really been an issue for me. So while we're in here, you can see the apps we've got. We've got a weather app at the top here. Now this sort of delay is a delay you see every so often. It's not terrible so far, but it's the delay where the watch is actually communicating with my phone. My phone's actually making this video, so not too far apart, but there is a little bit of a delay while it does that. You can see, you know, on the weather, it's showing me what the weather's going to be like today. I can go up for the next 10 days. Quite a lot of menus have this force touch, where you press the force touch and you can actually change it to look at the percentage of rain for the day. You can change it again then to go back to the temperature. You can change it to go back to condition. So it's worth experimenting to see which ones have force touch and which don't. I go back. Messages is quite interesting. So if we look at message, I actually sent myself a message to do a test. You can see that was unread. How's the watch review going? Well, it seems okay. And so you get a message coming through. You can see it's an iMessage. You can see the time and the message itself, and it comes through on the notifications in much the same way. We can click on reply, and it gives you a lot of stock answers: good, great, perfect. Some of them it tries to work out. So it, you know, it knows that I've asked a question on how something's going. So there's some in here like oh no or that it's added itself, and there's a load of stock ones, and you can scroll through those, or you can just flick through as you see. You know, I can say it's going well, it's going great, and I just send it straight off. The other thing I could do from here is, and you can see the ping has just come through on my Mac, is I can send a little icon. So I've seen a few of these which basically says that they didn't like it, they thought it was a bit scary, but actually I think it's quite nice. It's been a lot of fun sending them, and so you basically choose the icon. You starts off with a smiley face. You can see I've just got a message going through to myself. Just dismiss that. Got little vibrations that happened. And you know, you can choose from a smiley, from a heart, from a thumb, and finally from your recents, as you can see. And that recents is actually synced up with your. Funny enough, it's synced up with your iPhone. And from there you can scroll through and you can change the hands. It's quite good. I don't think it's creepy at all. Quite enjoy it. So I can send myself a fingers crossed. Hopefully it's going well. And then that will come through. If you haven't got an iPhone, then it actually comes through as a picture message. If you have an iPhone, it comes through as an animated icon. And you can see that sending now. It'll take a little longer because it is a picture rather than just a text message. About sending. You know, so additionally, I can. The other thing I can do when I'm replying, see it's coming through, is you can use this, which is very handy. You can use the voice control. So you basically press the microphone, and it will say, "Looks like it's going well, thank you." You see, it's picked up something else at the beginning, but don't worry too much about that. There you go. And then you can send it off. In a control condition where you're just in the street and talking to the phone, it works a lot better. Obviously it's picked up a little bit of my review there. You can see it automatically sent through as a message. You can actually set that to see whether it sets through automatically as a message or whether it sends through automatically as a voice memo. So it's up to you really. And you can see my messages come through, as is my crossed fingers, little animated icon there. So you can see the messages. You have your Move app. You can see there. You've got your workout app if you want to use it. I've not used this yet. You can obviously choose what you want to do. You have the settings in here. So your settings is really split between here and your phone. So there's various levels of settings you can set on your watch, but then there's a whole other level you can set on the phone as well. And on the phone you can start to see things like here you see the move for the day, and on your phone you get it for the whole month, the whole year, the whole whatever, because it stores everything. Whereas on here it's just for one day. And again, you've got the music app. You can actually move music onto your phone, but you can also control your iTunes on various devices from here as well. And you can control your TV. You can see the emails. You can see I've got my email set up in here. And you have the phone camera, so you can see that I'm actually going to, well, I can't do it here because I'm doing a video, you see, but you can actually control the phone shutter for the camera from the watch, which is good for taking long distance pictures of yourself or other things. Really that's the only ones I want to go through. There's other apps on there like Passbook, and I've got Halo on, a news app, but I really am limiting the apps I put on my phone because I want to use the phone more for just really vital notifications rather than every single notification I would ever get. A couple of gripes from this screen from my perspective. If you want to go back to the watch face, you actually have to press this button 3 times. Once to get back to the middle, once to get back to the watch face. Well, that's 2 times, but for me it's still once too many. I prefer to either double tap it to go back to the screen, or something that just took me straight back to the watch without having to press the button multiple times. And actually, if you're in an app, so say I'm in the calls app, like so, I've got to click back, then back to go back to the middle, then back to go back to the watch. And I really don't like that. I'd rather just go straight back to the watch face. And yeah, so I mean, you can see the apps on there. I'm not going to go through each one individually, but they work very well. I haven't had any issues with them at all. So from here, you've got the watch faces, and to change your watch faces, you do a hard press, and you can see all the different faces. I've actually mixed and matched them a couple of times, and I've been quite happy with playing around and having different ones. And you can see I had a go here. I had a yellow shirt with some yellow in it, and was playing with matching the watch face to your actual clothing, which is quite interesting. And the other thing you can do on here, I'll just go to customize, is you can customize the elements. So I can customize the color, so I can go more of a white or more towards a red, and I can then customize the individual icons on there, so I can have that to be activity, but again, you can scroll through what you want it to be. So in case I want that to be the battery, and I want that to be an alarm clock, I want that to be the moon phases, and then save it, and that's what you actually get. So it's quite nice. It's quite easy to do. And again, you've got the force press on there. Another one I want to quickly show you, because actually I think it's really handy, is on the messages. You also have a force press here, which you wouldn't be obvious if you was first in this. You've got the reply, but force press. I can reply as it's shown. I can also look at the details of the person that did the message. But even handy is I can just very quickly send the location. And so if someone's looking for you out and about and they're saying where are you, and it comes through on your phone, bang, you can really, really quickly just send your location out to them, which I think is really handy. Okay, so looking through there, I think some of the things to mention, let me just change it back to this one's the one I had on yesterday. And that's the Earth one with the moon phases, etc., which I quite like. And again, it's been interesting to wear the watch for the day. Battery's been fine. I do find that the sort of taptic engine doesn't tap hugely hard, so sometimes I miss a notification. Sometimes I don't know if something's come through, and I have to just have a quick check every so often. I've turned the taptic engine right up to the max, so it's as hard as it ever goes. But sometimes I still miss a notification, so I think that's a bit of a pain. And again, maybe future updates will fix that. And really, one other thing before I go is just to show you Siri. So again, actually Siri works quite well. So you just long press the crown for Siri. What's the weather today? And Siri comes up and tells me the weather. Another little handy things. Timer 20 minutes. There you go, and Siri sets a timer for you. And when the timer is finished, it vibrates on your wrist, and you know that you're ready to go. You know, pretty handy for when you need to time things, cooking or whatnot. So so far, very happy. Very interesting experience. Really, the UX needs a little bit of work, to be honest. I think it could do with a little bit of tidying up and a little bit of easier way of getting from one menu to the other. But so far, really good. And that's it. Any comments or questions, let me know.